one interesting thing I've noticed through the years is that whenever a new attorney starts with us, they have an initial high performance period in the consult room, usually lasts about 6 months. Then their confidence gains and they quit listening and they quit connecting and they just want to power over the client with great advice. So I encourage you, as your confidence grows, keep listening. Don't fall into that sophomore slump. And then it usually goes another 6 months to a year and they come out of it and because they appreciate the value in just listening. Well, hello and welcome to the J. Sterling Hughes Show, where we share how we have built our family law practice from 0 to 25 plus attorneys and 15 million revenue, all in the past 10 years. And today we're talking with Tom Harton again. We're following Tom as he is starting his law practice. So now we've been following Tom for about 5 or 6 months now. His practice opened 3 months ago. And one of the promises that we made in the outset is that Tom would share, the truth, the reality of what it's like starting a family law firm from scratch. And you can go to social media and you can see gloss and headlines and polish all day, but sometimes you don't see the truth. So with this, we promised to do that. And we're coming out of the month of November, and it was a bummer month, Tom. And so,
for sure.
Yeah, so let's start with the metrics and get into some of just the other challenges that happened in November.
Sure. Yeah. So metrics, I had 8 leads in November. 6 of those turns into consults. And of those consults, 3 of them were hires. So I hired 3 clients. So that being said, my 3 hires, one of those was an uncontested divorce, which I'm doing for a pretty low fee at this point. And then the other 2 were decent hires. One of them is a divorce case. I don't think it's going to be a big budget divorce case, but it's still a good divorce case. I'm happy to have signed it. And the other is a child custody case in front of family court where there is a lot going on. So that should be a good one. So the uncontested divorce was done that was signed as a flat fee. The other 2 still signed as retainer with hourly fees.
Okay, so let's kind of break that down a bit here. I'm looking out over the past 3 months because we kind of finished your first active practice quarter, right? 3 months.
Yep.
And we've got 27 leads that have come in. We've got 23 of those that actually turn into a consult, which is a really high ratio, actually. 23 out of 27.
So I'll temper that. So we were talking before the call. I do need to get better at tracking all of my leads. Like, if someone calls and I don't know, sometimes you get calls, I've been on and taken a while, but you get calls where people are just like, let me ask you a quick question. And then, it's like a 1-minute conversation and then you hang up like that. I might not have tracked that, whereas I probably should, because that's still that's an incoming call. Or maybe we need to break that into more categories. But I'm going to start doing a better job of tracking those numbers.
I've got some real practical experience to share with you on that. Okay. So first off, it is important to track all of those numbers. Second thing, it's also important to make them super simple and be rigid about your definition and stick with that. Don't change the definition for what counts as a lead, what counts as an opportunity. So what our firm does is we count all of our calls coming in, which is easy, right? We do that with our software.
Yeah.
And then we scrub out those that are like in criminal law or some other area of law out of the state, whatever it is that we can't serve. And what's left over becomes a lead. Then out of those leads, we look at those that we can actually help. They totally qualify, blah, blah, blah. And they call that an opportunity, which is also a consult. Okay. So that's kind of how we scrub them out.
Okay.
As long as you're consistent, right? That's the most important thing, because you need that data over time. Over time, it becomes more and more valuable to you, because then you make adjustments to your marketing based on what you've seen historically. And after you've had one calendar revolution, it becomes really valuable, because now you can look back at month over month, year over year, and see that. So anyway, you had 23 consults so far in your first 90 days, and 12 of those turned into paying clients.
Sure. It's just over half.
Yeah, that's actually really, really strong. A 50 plus closing rate is really high. So, if there's a challenge, it's not there for you. You're connecting with clients, obviously. So let me just point that out.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I think I'm good at connecting with people. I think, if you break the consult process into like 2 stages, which is kind of just like discussion, tell me about what's going on. I think I'm a good active listener, good at giving advice. And then at the end, you get that, I guess what I'll call like the closing phase. That's where I need to put in more work. I'm not good at, I don't know, I've never had to work in sales or anything like that. So most of my clients that sign, it's pretty rare for me at this point for a client to sign on the spot. It's almost always like, here's my retainer, go home, give me a call back. We'll walk through it, and stuff like that. And I apologize for the audience. I have a cold. That's why my voice sounds like this. I'm getting out of breath as I speak. But yeah, that's something I definitely need to improve on, is that, I don't know, just those last few minutes of closing. Yeah.
The most important aspect of your consults is just listening. That's way more important than what you say, by the way. Yeah. So when you get to that closing end of that comes from confidence, man, because they're evaluating at that point whether or not they can trust you with their big, massive problem.
Yeah.
And you just need more reps. That confidence will come. One interesting thing I've noticed through the years is that whenever a new attorney starts with us, they have an initial high performance period in the consult room, usually lasts about 6 months. Then their confidence gains and they quit listening and they quit connecting and they just want to power over the client with great advice. So I encourage you, as your confidence grows, keep listening. Don't fall into this sophomore slump. And then it usually goes another 6 months to a year and they come out of it because they appreciate the value in just listening.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome advice. And I don't know, I guess I think that's a quality of mine. I've always kind of been like that. I like listening to other people. So hopefully that's something that sticks.
Yeah. My favorite question in the consult room is, what else? That's it. That's I think got me more clients than any other single question.
I think I pretty much always ask that.
You can string that together. Okay. So last month, from a dollars and financial performance standpoint,
my worst.
Yeah. This is truth, man. This is what happens in law firms. I get it. You brought in top line of $43.25, so $4,325, and you had expenses in the marketing side, which is always your biggest one, of $2,500 a month. So that's a standard. Then another $1,700 in other expenses, rent and so forth. That left $125
Yep.
per month.
Yep.
Okay. This is what happens, right? That's got to be discouraging. So let's unpack that.
Extremely. Yeah. So, chalk that up to two things. One is getting more clients in, or two phases, I'll say. One is bringing more clients in, and two is doing work that's on my plate. And that latter part is on me. There's work I could have done in November, I could have billed in November, and I just didn't. I think a number of reasons. One, it was a holiday month. Two, I still am working at my patent job, which again feeds my family. I'm thankfully not being required to live off of that $125 a month. Mm-hmm. But that was a little bit of a busy month there. Going back to the first portion of bringing in more leads and signing more clients, that was discouraging. I'd like to see only basically signed two larger clients and then a small uncontested divorce case. Definitely need to get those numbers up significantly. When I started, I think my plan was to hope to hire somebody, whether that's a paralegal or an associate, maybe sometime in the spring. Looking at the month of November, I'm not even close to that point. So it's certainly discouraging.
So from an emotional standpoint, how are you processing through that, you personally? Self-doubts, what's going on inside your head?
Yeah, it kind of changes day by day. There definitely was a few days this month where I'm like, man, I could just go back to my patent job. Yeah, it's boring. I don't know what the future looks like with AI and everything, which is one of the reasons, I'm kind of trying to shift away from that field, because AI in that field, it's terrifying in every field, but in that field in particular is really scary. But there definitely was days this month where I'm just thinking, man, I could go back to that field, work from home, make a few $100,000 plus a year, not have any stress about owning a business, spend more time with my kids. What am I doing here? I just worked 50% of my time this month at a family law firm and made $125. So extremely discouraging. But the other part of me trying to focus on, staying focused on the bigger picture. What's going to happen long term, right? If this point next year, my firm is still making $125, I probably would have a more difficult conversation with myself about maybe this isn't working. But just have to remind yourself that you're going to have good months and bad months. And this was my worst month, and hopefully will be my first month, because I can tell you already, it's December. We're talking December 13th. I've already collected more money this month than I did in all of November. I don't know. Just trying to take it day by day, and staying focused on the bigger picture.
Yeah.
In my mind, it will happen. it's just not happening as fast as I wanted it to.
Yeah. What are the things that you can control this month to change the result?
I mean, there's working on that closing. So I don't want to jump too far ahead, but like December so far, I've had 4 consults and haven't signed one of them. And that's not to say they won't sign. I think at least like 2 of those, I'm confident they will. But yeah, again, that's going back to I need to get better at closing in the room rather than following up with people a week or so later. Things that I can control. I keep saying I'm going to try to do more, like just more marketing around town. Not like nothing crazy, but just getting to know more firms in the area, and go up to the criminal lawyers or estate planning lawyers, ask if if you have any overflow work, or even other family law firms, if you have any other overflow work, I'd love to take it. I haven't done that, and that's totally on me. I don't know, other stuff that's in my control. Yeah, I said this before, but just being more proactive. There's work I've been doing all this week that I could have done. I signed an uncontested divorce in early November, and I didn't really get started on it until last week.
Was that an hourly one? An hourly case?
No, that's a fixed fee.
Okay. And what was your fixed fee on that?
I think I did $32.50. I have to go back and check the number. But it's like really simple, and I don't know if that's low or high. You give me your opinion, but they own a house. They're getting complete agreement on how they're gonna sell it and split it. They have no kids. It's like a really, really straightforward. It's one of those things, realistically, they probably could have gone to the court, got the paperwork, and filled it out themselves.
Yeah.
So you're not going to, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but you're not going to collect a, $8,000 fee on that.
Right. The number one determinant of success in family law for our attorneys is proactivity, because you have to move the cases forward, which is so much different than hourly. Hourly, you can afford to be passive. You can afford to have the judge, opposing party, opposing client, or whatever, like run the agenda, push the case forward, and you just respond as things happen. That's the normal thing. So that's interesting that you're kind of already discovering that early on like this. Also, Tom, this is December. We've got Christmas and all the holidays coming up here at the end of the month. And it is very, very normal to have people meet, put the decision off until January, and even more so put the decision off until tax return season starts about February 15th. We every single year see a spike starting about February 15th and going through basically April 30th.
Okay.
So there's some of that cyclicality there that is going to be, you're going to feel. We talked last month a little bit about positioning your firm to focus on first responders. Have you given that any more thought?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So my website, so there is like a subpage of my website. Now it's live. You can click it, and it's a really cool page. I don't know. Do you want me to share it real quick?
Yeah, let's look at it.
Let's see.
So as you're sharing this, for those that are listening on audio, I'm going to kind of narrate a little bit. So in your website's heartandfamilylaw.com, right?
It is, yeah. So let me just go to my main page here. So there's supposed to be something here, which there will be eventually. So this is my standard page. I know we talked about getting rid of these stock photos and putting in more photos of like myself and stuff about my office and stuff, which I definitely need to do. But if you go down here and we go to first responders, so this is my first responder page. This is my marketing team. I think they did a great job. It's a typical landing page. It has people fill out their first name, last name, phone number, email address, send a message. The tagline is family law support for first responders, dedicated to serving those who serve. I thought that was a nice tagline they came up with.
Yeah, that's good.
And then, kind of some patriotic stuff, talks about people we serve. And, importantly, I think down here you get to there's like a lot of blog posts about, specific issues that first responders face. Like, they got the 2 examples I've used, like, you work 24-hour shifts. How do you handle child support? Don't let people take advantage of you in child support just because you happen to work overnights, like 2 nights a week. You're still entitled to your child support, and how to protect your pension, the importance of prenups or even postnups for people that are originally married, especially for people that have pensions and retirement who's a large portion of their salaries are based on their pensions and retirement benefits.
Right.
So yeah, I thought did a really good job on this page.
Have you had any reaction from the marketplace on this yet? Has anyone said, "Hey, I saw your page"?
So it only launched about a week ago,
okay.
week and a half ago. So I don't think so. I do have one client that's a police officer, but I don't know I think he might have signed before this. He did sign in November. So I don't know, maybe. So when I talk about doing more marketing around town, that was kind of one of the like thoughts I had when I was forming that page. Because I think that gives me more of like not like, hey, I'm a family lawyer. It's, hey, I'm a family lawyer, specifically, serving a specific market, and serving everybody, but with a focus on a particular market. I don't know, makes the outreach a little bit easier, I think, and gives me targets of people to outreach to, right? You can do some local outreach to Police Benevolent Association or, Veterans Association, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, back when I said, you asked what things could I do better, that's been a thought in my head for a while, and I haven't acted on it.
Yeah. What marketing do you have active in the marketplace? You've got your map listing. You've got paid search, right?
Yes, paid search. Yeah.
And obviously any organic rankings. I don't know where you rank organically, but those three right now are your main three. Is that right?
And my map ranking is very good. My ads, I think they're doing okay. And to
paid search ads?
Yes.
Okay. Did you narrow that focus down to just your immediate geo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. That was something we talked about like 2 episodes ago. And yep, I did. I followed up on that.
Okay. Do you have a sense of these three, which one's paying off the most for you? You're getting the most leads?
Definitely not organic. I don't think I'm getting anything off organic yet.
Okay.
In terms of the map and the PPC, my best guess is I would say the map, but my guess is they kind of feed each other. Someone sees an ad. I think then especially younger people tend to look past ads on Google. Like I know I'm not that young, but even when I search for something on Google, I typically scroll right past the sponsored section. And I don't know about you. Maybe that's not true of everyone, but I did ask my wife and a friend, like, I was like, hey, if you were picking a divorce lawyer, and I made them look at my phone, and same thing. They don't give as much credit to the sponsored ads as maybe people used to. Because I think people realize anyone can buy that. But I think if you have a sponsored ad, if people see your name in the sponsored ad and then they see you in the map section,
that matters.
Then that gives you some credit.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my take. Could be wrong.
Well, I think the more impressions you have on that front page, the better, right?
Yeah, right. If they're seeing your name twice.
Yeah, they're doing their due diligence, looking around, reading websites. I mean, obviously you've got some really good reviews, so that helps.
Yeah, and I've been doing better about that lately. I think I went probably 3-4 weeks without really getting any. So I got 2 in the last week. Trying to pick that back up.
Your budget, your actual spend on placement is $1,500 a month. Is that right?
Yeah. So I pay $1,000 for to the marketing company for general oversight management, and then $1,500 towards the ads on top of that.
Okay. You're exhausting that budget every month for sure. Okay.
Yeah. My plan is to increase that in the new year. Not by too much. I don't want to go bankrupt. But yeah, if I can throw another 500, turn that 1,500 into either 2,000 or 2,500, see if that has a big impact.
Do you know if that budget's evenly apportioned throughout the month, or is it more front loaded?
I think it is. I think it's more front loaded, but I got a couple calls in late November. I guess the better answer is I don't know. I think so. I think it's pretty spread out.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's Google's job to do that. That's my job to make sure they're doing it, but that's how they're supposed to do it, right? You give them a budget and they say, all right, if your budget's 2,000, each week of the month, we'll, allocate 500 towards it. Right?
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I should track those numbers. I know Paul, my guy that does my marketing, is tracking that, so he would know that answer, but I don't.
Yeah, that's been a strategy of ours for a long time. We'll slow it down in December, and then we'll ramp things up in January, February, because that's decision-making time for a lot of folks.
Yeah, right. And so do you think that my budget is so low that it's not really having an impact?
I don't know, Tom. I don't have a strong opinion on that. I don't know.
There are 2 players in my market that there's not even a point in me getting involved in LSAs, because no matter where you are on Long Island or in the city, you type in divorce attorney, it's always boom, boom, 1, 2, these 2 people, same thing.
Yeah.
Not even worth a shot. They don't seem to be doing pay-per-click ads, so that's where I am. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they get their advertising budgets from, but I'm guessing they're spending $100,000 a month, which I don't know if they're covering New York City also. Those ads are expensive.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm not even worrying about trying to compete with them.
Yeah.
And I've heard some bad things about those firms too, but I don't know. I guess when you have a advertising budget like that, it doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, phone's always ringing. So how do you feel like you're doing on answering the phone? Are you getting all the calls, you think?
Yeah, I'm very good about answering the phone. Even last night I got a form submission like 9:15. I was like, I probably shouldn't call. It's probably late. I was like, nope, you know what? They're up. They just submitted the form submission. Called them. And so she'll be a consult next week.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, you're hustling. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's good. I don't mind answering the phone at all. And again, it's not like when it gets so busy that it's interfering with my job. Maybe intake is one of my first hires, but it's not that bad yet. If it's, like we said, the leads have not been flowing in like crazy. So I definitely don't mind.
Well, what can I do for you? How can I help you going into the new year?
I don't know. I just, November was a bad month. December, looking at both ends, it's so on the income front is going to be a good month. It's going to be a very good month, just because I'm being more proactive, like we talked about before, and not being like, oh, I'll have this uncontested divorce case. They're not in a rush. I'll get to it when I can. Or, we filed our answer. Let's kind of wait around and see what happens. Like, no, even if I am doing hourly, whether it's hourly or fixed fee, I'm going to, focus on being more proactive. And I'm doing that this month. So this will be a good month financially, I think. But I don't think it will be a good month in terms of signing new clients. But I don't know. I'm going to be optimistic and just chalk that up to the holidays, and hopefully when January hits, just combined with the fact that it's January and I'll have a little bit more money to throw towards my advertising budget, just hope things pick up. And if they don't by, I don't know, March, maybe I need to recalibrate or something.
Yeah. So how is your billing consistency for your hourly cases? Are you getting your bills out consistently every month?
Yeah, I'm good about billing. My collection rate's probably 100%, or if not that, 98%. I have not had anyone not pay a bill yet or dispute a bill.
Okay. All right. Well, you're doing all the right stuff. You're executing the right stuff, Tom. So it's a matter of time.
I hope so.
I totally believe that.
Yeah, two things, I hope, on the negative side, I know, like we talked about this before when we first started, I heard from you and a couple other family lawyers, and I'll be honest, that had an impact on why I got into family law. When I first started, my first thought of getting out of like corporate work was personal injury. I was like, man, I don't know, I liked it. I thought it was really interesting, but I liked family law also. And the thing that helped me decide between the two was everyone kept saying it's easy to get clients in family law, but I have not found that to be the case yet. I'm sure I wouldn't have as many PI clients as I do family law clients now, but it's definitely not as easy as I was expecting. I guess when I got to the first place on the maps and started doing some ads, I was like, all right, my phone's going to be ringing off the hook, and that just hasn't been the case. So that was a little sobering.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, being optimistic and hoping it's just a holiday slump and things will pick up early next year.
Yeah. Well, we only had 18 working days. That's how we count in the month of November. So you're losing 3, right? 21 is usually the number. So, and then December is more of the same. You're going to have about the same number when you add it all together, maybe even 17, because Christmas is on a Wednesday this year. So that whole week is basically shot, and part of the next week. So it's a hard, you're starting the practice at the most difficult time to do that. So going to the holiday season is hard.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, from having seen this in our firm and watching other firms, you're doing the right stuff, and you're staying focused on what you can control and not worry about the stuff you can't control. So you're doing all the right stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like I say this every episode, but just worth repeating. I'm fortunate, both fortunate and unfortunate, to have the fallback income from my patent firm, right? I'm extremely fortunate because it feeds my family, pays my mortgage, gives me health benefits. But it also prevents me, right? If this family law firm was my only source of income and I made $125 in November, I would be out there, I would get off this call and I would be knocking on every law firm around here.
Sandwich board on it.
Financial services firms, whatever. Give me your work. But I guess I just don't do that because I'm relying on digital. I do have the fallback income, and I don't love cold calling and knocking on doors and I don't know stuff. Which I don't know. I want to do some of it because I feel like that's something I should do. But I'm fortunate that I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
As many other people would. I think someone else that didn't have a fallback job. If they made $125 in November, I think they would strongly consider closing their firm.
Yeah.
Whereas I can be like, what's whatever. My family's okay. This is, it'll pick up.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just stay the course.
Yeah.
You've got a strategy. You're not in a position where you're desperate, right, to make any of these unwise long-term moves. So just keep executing.
Yep. Yeah, I think for the first quarter, exactly like you said, stay the course. I think if I'm still in the same position in, April, which is supposed to be the busy season, I don't know, maybe I'll have a different conversation with myself. But
yeah, well, let's look at making some tweaks in January to your marketing and see what kind of return you get from that. You're only spending $1,500 a month, right? So, really in paid search. So out of that, you had three clients last month. So you're spending about $500 a client if you look at it just on your spend.
Yeah, which is, still good,
Not horrible. You add it all together, it's $800 a month when you add in the service fees.
Yeah, but still, out of, those two clients, those might be $5,000 to $8,000 each at least, right? So I'm getting a 10 times return on my budget. So
you just need more volume. If you had more, you need more volume.
Yeah. So if I don't know, if there was a guarantee like double your pay-per-click and you'll double your leads, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I don't know. I don't have the confidence that's the case. I still think the majority of my leads are coming from that map.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
So yeah. All right.
All right, Tom. Good talking. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you. And hopefully our next call will be a little bit more upbeat. Good numbers.
Look forward to it. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
See ya.
Okay, bye.